Just how's this team coming together? I know every year now that's one of the first things, but how has this group started to come together over these last few weeks?
It's hard with a baseball team because I look at, you start in August and you start training everybody. Some guys played summer ball, some guys didn't. And you try to get them all to converge for this day of the start of fall practice. So I think what you look into is just individual effort as far as are the guys doing what they need to do? Are they building up? And we're just trying to get everybody converged and be at the same point to start fall practice. So, but you know, to your question, you can tell who absolutely rushes in here that's excited about baseball and who drags out because they give you a good day's work. Who's spending the extra time in the cages and who's around the ballpark more often. Those are the obvious cues for coaches in the first phase. And now, you know, if you saw social media, we had where, you know, yesterday was Christmas Eve, basically, and today's Christmas Day. So we're trying to make a big deal out of this being a significant point of production. These are live at bats versus our guys today, and the roster for day one of starting fall practice with 21 returners and 20 new guys is everybody ready to go. I'm excited about that. And so the push starts today to start figuring things out and who can do what and keeping up with the at-bats part. And I've spoken just like all other coaches, process, results, but this day and time, man, there's some production required. And who's going to start getting hits today? Who's going to start separating from all the good players we lost last year? Because nothing's guaranteed for this team whatsoever. This new day and time, not a thing is guaranteed for anybody. Myself, our players, nobody. We have to go out and start today signifying that we got to go get some production. We got to start playing ball. And everybody's jumbled up in that first phase to get ready for today. Today will create separation, and that separation will be created by who becomes productive beginning today.
What's the key to what was a fabulous freshman class taking that next step into this sophomore year?
Yeah, for them to just stay focused, not feel like they arrived, not to feel like that they absolutely can dominate this level, take their foot off the gas and start resting on their laurels. They have to do everything they can. I think this signifies year 25 for me in this league. I can name you big leaguer after big leaguer that had challenges and setbacks as a sophomore. My biggest thing for the guys in that category that you're talking about that had successful freshman campaigns is to keep working, keep their head down. What can you continue to grow? I think I could talk to guys that's been playing in the former players in the big league 6-7 years. The things they're still figuring out about the game. They're still growing. They're still working. That would be my message to our guys because whoever had positive year for us last year as freshmen, man, we are counting on them big time. But I think the key for them to keep having success and to keep growing is to stay focused and locked in and acting. It worked last year. Give me the same mentality leading into the season of being hungry, not knowing if you got a spot. I got to keep growing my game. I got to be laser focused and fight like you did last year instead of trying to do something different this year, thinking you got this linked. That'll be something that we'll keep reminding them of.
Butch, any newcomers maybe catch your eye showing up to the park early, doing the extra things so far, maybe driving the ball good in batting practice, anything like that?
Yeah, Ryan Farber's who we thought who he is or what he was when we recruited him. The switch hitter, but the headsiness, the coachability, and really, like we've discussed, the thing that sticks out the most is who's around the park the most, who's trying to connect as a teammate. This guy's been a new guy that's done everything he can to lead and be a part of that. He's done an amazing job with that. Mason McCrane's a true talent, you know. Other freshman for me, Mason McCrane, but Ethan Bingaman has been amazing. McCrane, Clayton Armall. We have 3 freshmen that are dual guys that we think can pitch and can hit. But Bingaman's looked the part. That's a gold medal with USA Baseball. It's played on the best high school team in America. I don't think there's any argument He had 3 teammates that went the first round last year, and he's a USA player. So Ethan Bingaman's been very, very impressive, both offensively and feels like a guy that has enough stuff that could throw in the back end for us of a game like he did with USA. So I'm excited about those guys. There's others. Taylor Bells is coming off. He's a freshman coming off of a Tommy John, but he's been released now. It's a left-handed bat with a lot of power, and that's a good start. I think that's a catcher, and Belza, maybe part of the future there, but so excited about his at bat. Bingaman there in the middle of the field, McCrane, Armand the outfield, but 3 freshmen that you feel like look the part, where if it's not now, it will be soon, where they can help you as dual guys. Man, it's been a while, and I think in this new world with the roster limitations that are here, that are coming after the designated student athletes, I think the dual guys become more important than ever.
You mentioned Farber, about those roster things. I think he's a guy that played every game at college and every game in the Cape. How valuable is it to have a Cal Ripken type of guy that just shows up and is in the lineup?
Yeah, that's the same thing we've seen, and he did do that in the summer. I should have mentioned that. I think the only player to post and play every game in the summer is so impressive, and that's what he does. I just we're getting ready to come up here visiting with you guys, and he's out there. I see him jogging back from the cages, hour and a half early, and there's others. That's the point. I think it's good to bring up one guy, but there's so many guys that are doing a nice job. But hey, man, you work hard and you rush in here and you drag out and all that. It doesn't guarantee you anything. Everybody's probably doing that, so we got to keep pushing. But to answer these questions, there's absolutely some guys that are doing some impressive things.
When you have 20 new guys and you want them to quickly embrace the culture and the identity of Auburn baseball, is there a guy that you point to and say, hey, if you want to know what that looks like, be like this guy?
Yeah, I think I can just point to who's like taking the bull by the horns. I think Farber, for being a first-year guy, is very impressive. Lucas Steele has done an amazing job in leadership, proactive. It feels like to me, and I don't know everything because the locker room's theirs, but it feels like if they're going to get together somewhere, it feels like a Lucas Steele, Eric Guevara is just an amazing leader. Chris Rembert's quiet, but if he says get up or he says jump, I just see everybody jumping in the air. Chris Rembert has that quality about him. A returner that, really didn't get as many at-bats and didn't pitch as much, that we feel like is absolutely trying to lead and get in the middle thing, is Jet Johnston from a name that's out of there. He's casting our first player vision of the fall here, so that wanting to do that gives him an opportunity to try to go from here to where he wants to be and taking a positive step by trying to lead. So I think it's good. Ike Irish took a lot of air out of the room. Cooper McMurray took a lot of air out of the room that needed to be filled by guys. Those 2 guys said a lot of words and led our team through adversity, back out of it, and led them every day to keep pushing them last year. And those 2 guys aren't in that locker room. So those 4 or 5 and others are doing a good job. But there was a void there. And those are some names that are doing a good job thus far.
Injury situation, anybody banged up going in the fall?
Oh, Brian. Everybody's good to go. Bells has just been released as Tommy John, but I don't think we'll be catching him full games, but I think an inning or 2, and Anthony's letting me come out and throw, and we've been doing that lightly. Everybody, even if there's a little limitation of us trying to take care of them, everybody on this roster is available to start out there and start competing today. There's a challenge, right? I got a couple of coaches on staff that wants to put people in bubble wrap and then come out in the spring, and then you got me or whoever else is in my camp on the coaching staff that's like, you're not going to sharpen anything, you're not going to produce anything of value unless there's pressure applied, and you go dig and you grow and you play this game and you play it hard. So we're trying to balance those 2, and it's inevitable, but I think the only way some of these guys are going to grow year over year or in their game is to go out and compete heavily. So hopefully we do have both of those on our coaching staff, and that we'll balance each other through our staff meetings and be real about how to push these guys. And we know injuries are a little bit part of the game, always have been, but I know that's been our best teams when we've been able to stay healthy, and it's a challenge, not for just us, it's a challenge for everybody in our league. But I'm glad that every one of these boys that are here are getting an opportunity to go out there and start trying to compete day one. I think that's exciting, and we're going to push them. And I think that's the only way, to my point of what I'm trying to make, is I hear these guys in my ear that is going to help me protect guys while I'm trying to find a fine balance of pushing and growing, but being realistic and focus on their health, but absolutely committed to what's going to make them develop.
How do you feel about your pitching staff? Anybody come back with more velocity and a new pitch? Anything new to talk about there?
I would just say positive, and I'm taking that as a 3-year span, just like when Huddy got here, where we started to where we finished, and Huddy got to pitch and coach in Omaha. Seeing that journey from an adjustment from Teef from first year to last year, the growth to this year, I think I think the talent's deeper. I wouldn't say better, but I think that the overall talent, there's more engines than he's had the first 2 years. But his job, my job, all our jobs is how good can we steer those engines? So I do think he has more depth of engines that can absolutely be successful at this level. And I think it's been amazing to see him grow as a pitching coach to where I'm backing away more. But it has to, if we want to keep taking the next step with all these things that are lined up for us, all these boxes we check right now, we're going to have to understand nothing's guaranteed, and that the pitching needs to be markedly better than last year and definitely 2 years ago. We are trending in the right direction. We feel like Drew Whalen and Marciano could be starters for us. Chatterton and Alvarez says, not so fast. You lose like a Carson Myers, but you got a Brewer, and you got Ethan Harden from Belmont, couple lefties that, like, we can take those roles. That's what we'll have to wait and see. Hetzler and Graves are starting today. Those are 2 guys that we're pretty excited about as relievers. Graves, what he did in the Super Regional, you just feel like he's growing and growing and growing. So if Graves and Hetzler keeps getting better, and we got a couple of new pieces, left-handed in the middle, come in there, and you got 4 or 5 starters, and I'm leading some guys out because we'll start playing 4 days a week, and that'll be a requirement of 2 starters each day, so 8 guys will get a chance and to go out there. But I feel like Whalen and Marciano have looked the part, but a bullpen's a preparation, not an indication, as I've heard before. We'll see. Today will start being real outings and seeing how they really act. And then I'm leaving out about 10 guys. This is a roster just like I would think every roster I've ever had, or every roster in the league, where 5 or 6 guys are wondering right now if they could even play at this level. And that's probably accurate. You got another 10, 11, 12 guys that, like, how am I going to get on the field? And you got about 25, 26 guys like, where am I going to play? And we'll see how that shakes out. That's legitimate. And for the last 2 months, all that's kind of sitting there waiting and simmering. Today, you throw all this stuff up in the air for the musical chairs to start.
You got guys who are in the loop for 2 years, have dealt with some injury. How valuable does that make this fall for them to get those sharpening moments to get prepared for next season?
Yeah, Guevara is one of the biggest ones. He's ahead of schedule. I didn't think he'd be released, but he's been doing good work for us and needed it. Personally, these 2 boys know that these are big years for each other. I mean, the first 2 years, young players, not draft eligible, etc., everything, it might have made a difference for us with those 2 guys not being on the field, but that'd be an excuse, and we never bring one to the table right there. But I think they know personally for their careers that this is a big year to be able to stay on the field. For us to be the best version of ourselves, I don't think there's any doubt that those 2 guys being on the field for us makes us the best we possibly can be. So, but this fall, I think, it's just revving the engines and going. Blue's been going hard for a week or so, and I forgot. I hadn't seen that gear in a long time. And being out here and seeing that, I'm like, man, I almost put a ceiling on him as a coach, which shame on me. I just hadn't seen his body turn loose and him, you know, run 30 yards as fast as he can, or go from home to second, or really see that barrel speed through the zone the way I've seen it the last week. So I'm excited about him. I hope they feel a little bit tugging on him, you know, when you start talking about some of these guys that have come in here that are doing a little bit. Bingaman comes to mind. That's he's toting some bat speed and some intent right here, and it's going to be hard. I don't think we got 9 guys swinging a bat better than him right now. So you start trying to find those bats in the lineup, like the old adage says. But those 2 guys are important. They know our culture. They know Auburn. They are who we are. They're close part of the family. Those 2 boys getting right, staying on the field, takes care of a lot of things for us.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Yeah.